All right. Well, I'm glad I was able to get frustration off my chest from the last video. Um, which thank you again so much for all you who have viewed it and just been sharing it. I honestly didn't think it was going to get that much views, but it's been doing really well. So I'm hoping that people are able to view it and become aware of some of the dangers of certain things on the internet and stuff like that. So, anyways, now that we got that out of the way, I want to talk about. First off, I want to talk about my family reunion. It was great. Actually, we went to Yellowstone National Park. If you don't know where that is, you should look it up because it's kind of a big deal. It's in parts of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, I want to say. In fact, as you're inside the park, sometimes you cross over different state lines just because that's how it is. Obviously, it's also famous for it's a reserve, reserve. It's for bison, for buffalo. Actual wild buffalo. If you go to the meat section of in your store and you see bison, fairly expensive kind of meat there. That was usually farmed. You can only find buffalo in the wild, I believe, actually at Yellowstone National Park. And these things are massive. So if you don't know about it, you should really check it out. It's also famous for, let's see here, that's a wolf. Wrong picture, but they also have a really cool wolf and grizzly discovery center, which was a lot of fun. My daughter had fun with that one. My oldest daughter. She's really into animals, so she loved that one. So, Goodbye Wolf. Let's see. It is famous for... Aha! There it is. Good work. That is obviously Old Faithful. It's a geyser that actually shoots off extremely hot water. I think it's like every 45 minutes to an hour-ish, I think. And so that's a really neat thermal geographic, whatever you call it. Look, they use certain words. Thermals in there. It has to do with heat and magma and stuff like that. What else they got? They got these hot springs. Let me just kind of move that picture out of my face. Hot springs. They don't build up pressure and shoot up, but the hot springs do have extremely hot water. Sometimes even the like boiling mud areas. So it's really, really weird. So and of course we got to see family. It was great seeing family. Obviously, also a kind of reminder of how much I don't fit in with my own siblings, but I guess that's kind of why I wanted to get an interview with some of my siblings while I was there, but we were just too busy over there. Either we were going to the national park or visiting one of the touristy towns, or having a super late night of Yahtzee. Yahtzee is a staple in my family. We can't help it. We lived up in the hills in the middle of nowhere for a while, and with absolutely no, you couldn't get cable up there, right? So yeah, we had many nights of Yahtzee growing up. So we do that on our reunions. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, got to talk about that. Joy. Now, what else can we talk about? I guess the next thing I want to talk about. Recently, I had a conversation with someone before about their own child is on the spectrum as well. Can't remember if they said Asperger's or autism, but somewhere in the related area. And she was kind of talking about how her kid has a hard time with changes, and sometimes her child needs to be able to have a whole day to process it. And I get that. I understand that. But as we're kind of talking about it, she said a phrase that I can't really agree with. She said something about I could just only hope that one day that there'll be my child be like you to be able to process things faster and be okay with change. And I think the problem I have is having the word hope in there. Now I understand for a lot of people it's harder to move through this than others, and I get that. But I think having the word hope in there is, I don't want you to have hope. I want people to think about, to actually actively trying to teach their child things. I met with other people many years ago. They said they had an activity book for their child. And it kind of like talks about certain things, and it's like, well, that's just Asperger's, or that's just autism. And I don't know. Sometimes it seems like there's a mentality of like, almost like a boys will be boys kind of thing. And it's like, well, this is just how it is. It's just Asperger's. It's just autism. Whatever. Or, it's kind of like a parent saying to themselves, it's only a phase, right? Right? This is just a phase. Yeah, but sometimes you also have to actively teach your child that's inappropriate. You don't... Spitting on people, your 3-year-old spitting on people, mine does. Spitting on people, yeah, it's a phase that, 3-year-olds learn. Like, hey, I can spit. If I'm really upset with someone, or if I think it's funny, I can spit at someone. You kind of have to actually actively teach your child, no, don't spit on people, that's gross, don't do that. And it's the same thing with Asperger's. Sometimes you kind of have to teach and learn that it's like, well, yes, that's part of this, and you need to identify this as part of Asperger's or autism, and you need to actively teach, let's move on from this, Again, this isn't trying to cure a person. This is just trying to help someone understand this is how it is in a normal world. For a normal person, this is how it is, and if I want to blend in and cope in the normal world, I need to learn how does normal people do these kind of things. So I doubt this person's ever going to see this video, unfortunately. But, I feel like that's how people need to also perceive this, is like, it's not just a thing that, don't just hope that your child will move past it, or just hope that they'll grow out of it. Because, again, as I mentioned before, for some people on the spectrum, it's actually that their brain does not process things the correct way. They don't do synaptic pruning. That there's certain parts of their brains that's still the same as when they're an infant or a toddler. So growing past a phase or going past a certain part in development might be a little bit harder than you think. And, don't just hope for it. Actively try. If I remember correctly, my dad was a little bit, hard on me for certain things. And I understand a lot of people have, they don't want to be hard on their children. They don't want to be seen as a bad parent, and I get that, and it's really hard nowadays as well. As I mentioned before in my other video, with some of the things I'm dealing with, people are very much aware of like certain child abuses, and they're very afraid. It's like, oh, if I do this, would it be seen as child abuse? And I understand that. I get that fear. Honestly, I have 4 kids. But I think at the same time, you still need to remember, like, well, boy, I might have to be a little bit harder on this. You might have to be. And I don't want to give people false hope. Maybe some people just don't move on from certain things. It's a lot harder than you might think it is. But, you also have to try to actively try to move past it. Don't wait for an open door to come past you. Again, I see things in pictures, so here's an analogy for you. Okay, when you're at the store and you go through the automatic door, you have to move to the automatic door for it to open up, right? You're in your own house. You have to move to the house, and or move it through the house. You have to go to the door and try to open it yourself. You gotta grab the doorknob and pull it open, or push, either way. And I feel the same way as also with teaching someone with Asperger's and autism how to cope with certain things. You don't wait for the door to come to you and open up by itself. You have to move towards it. And maybe it's as easy as the automatic door, where you just move towards it and it'll open up for you and it'll click. Or you're going to have a door that you're going to have to figure out how to open it up. And, we've all been at that kind of door. Trying to push the door, it says pull. We've all been there. And I think that's how you have to view it with moving on with certain things with autism and Asperger's. You have to actively try to figure out, what do I need to do. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today. Just don't just sit and wish and hope. You got grab what's the phrase? Grab life by the horns, right? You gotta grab onto that lesson. You gotta grab it by the horns, and you gotta try. Don't just let it happen. Try to be involved in it happening. Don't force it, and don't dilly-dally for it. Be involved in the happening. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, my other video has been doing actually really good. I didn't think I was going to get the response that I did on my last video. I thank you so much, actually, for viewing that and sharing that, and hopefully people becoming more aware of certain things. So again, thank you very much, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.